Hi, I'm Seamless, and right now I want to tell you what's going on with my channel. The whole 10-minute thing, I think, might be 15 minutes, I never actually checked. And what happened with Pernicious in that movie, and that whole thing, and what all was up. And also explaining a bit of the root of all of this that's happening recently. So, this started off with me putting up a video that said, "Movie stole my song." And then they gave me a copyright strike because I uploaded a shot of their movie. And now that the copyright strike is why I can't upload movies or videos longer than 10 minutes. And I also can't apparently have unlisted or private movie videos. It's weird. I wasn't aware that was a feature, but that's getting taken care of. They actually agreed to rescind the takedown notification, and we're actually kind of buddy-buddy now because we have determined the root of the problem, which is not so much that they personally decided to pirate my track, it's that they paid for it from a royalty-free music service, which uses freelance artists to submit content to their website, to their portal. And the artist was the one that ripped off my track. And does this entire economy about like copyright free music available to music producers and to video producers is like why this is a problem, because these things, these aggregates, I guess, exist, and they're it's kind of like looking at Splice Sound or something where you see like, oh, list of songs, you can listen to them and cool, just pick the ones that you want, you pay for them, and that's the end of that. You pay some like ridiculously low price too, like $30. It's not a lot of money, especially when you're using it in an actual full-on, for-real movie. But, like, as far as I can tell, there's not really a lot of quality control in this. This is mostly just, like, you by checking this box, you promise that you're not stealing someone's track, kind of thing. And if they were smart about this, they wouldn't have ripped off something that was mine. And I'm saying this not because I'm some huge artist, but because I'm large enough that the only reason why I found out about any of this is because people who were my fans, who recognized my work, heard it and went, "Oh, did you know about this?" And the answer was no, I did not know about this. So if you're watching this video, you're actually probably way more at risk for this sort of theft than I am, because the gamble here is that the original copyright owner would not notice that someone just like vacuumed up a whole bunch of unknown music, put it up onto these, like one of the websites is called Pond 5, the other one is called Audio Jungle, and the Audio Jungle one really got me because that's from the same people that do Theme Forest, which I've used before, and they they accept freelance submissions for these things. It's just being like, make yourself like you're selling your stuff essentially, and it's presumably they get paid for it too. So like the actual theft happens so far below the actual result, which is that a movie, a video, a whatever used content that was mine without my permission. And what's interesting is that I talked about this the way that this works before in the video that I made a long time ago called "I Don't Want to Work for Anybody," where I didn't really particularly like articulate my problems with that very well. And that's because I didn't really understand why it irked me so much back then. My issue back then was mostly that there's a tremendous separation between final products and like the pieces to it. And I'm not saying that there hasn't always been for other stuff as well. Like a big movie company aren't going to have like their own in-house everything. They're gonna farm out contracts to other stuff. Like traditionally things like visual effects will be like Weta or ILM or something like that kind of stuff. So that's just pretty common. But like the granularity of this and like the smallness of it, like the path for me to be like in one of these even like AAA things is that I have to like align myself with like a content aggregate that sells it to a library that's available to like the sound directors, who then pick it and give it to the actual directors, and that makes it in the movie. And like the thing now being put in the movie has nothing to do with me. Like the thing didn't get made for the movie; it just got made, and then someone decides, cool, that's good enough, and then that ends up being in the film. Like that just screams mediocrity and lameness to me. And like everybody, I feel like a lot of people who have ever thought that they wanted to make music for movies or whatever had this image in their mind of being like the guy that's on set with the director, like or with the film, like in the company, like they're the guy that they have to make the music for their stuff. Like that's the thing that's what they want to be. That's what I always wanted to be, but that doesn't seem to be a thing anymore, or at least not unless like you're some ludicrously like top of the line like Hans Zimmer, John Williams kind of people, like. I wanted to be someone like when Noisia did Devil May Cry, and then later they did the music for CS:GO, like the sound packs, that kind of thing. Like specifically chosen to work specifically for the movie, to specifically impart their specific type of like their work, their art, that thing, as opposed to like just swiping through tracks and just being like, that one's cool, neat, and like whoever made that one, they didn't know they were making it for whatever they got used for. That just seems ugh. And like obviously it's better for the overall creators, like the people who are putting in their content, because that makes their jobs just like 1,000 times easier. It's also a lot cheaper, whatever, cool. And like there are other, like I know that Monster Cat actually does this too. They have their whole library like available for certain content publishers. They have their own little system for it, and like if you sign up for the service, then like you can just use whatever you want and at all times, that kind of thing. And if you like, so if you ever like look at some other like YouTuber and you just hear Monster Cat art, like Monster Cat music in there, like that's probably why. And not so much that you thought like, oh, maybe they like that artist and they talk to that artist and they made a deal with that artist to use that artist's music, and then the artist had actually any kind of choice about being in there too. Because like even if the Pernicious thing, like the not only is the version of my song that's in there like a terrible edit of my song, but even if it was my actual song, I don't know that I would want to be in it. I don't know that I definitely would not have charged however like the tiny amount that they paid for it. I would have charged a lot more, and then they would have been like, no, they would have used someone else, because that's how much that particular track mattered to them at that particular moment. And like the creator obviously signs away their choices to these things when they, elect that their track gets put in these little aggregates and that kind of thing. But I honestly don't think they know what they're getting into when they do that kind of stuff. Because like, I actually have a timer right now on my phone to make sure that I don't go over the allotted small video segment amount. I more or less got my point across. So that's what's going on with the channel. That's why I have short videos. That's what happened with the movie. That's what happened with, actually, very shortly after the movie, another video surfaced from another rather large, reputable individual. Like I handled that a little bit better. Like I didn't handle Pernicious too well. That was a bit childish of me. But I have learned some things, and if this ever happens again in the future, I'm gonna go a little harder on them. Not specifically people who made Pernicious, but anybody like them that decides that my stuff ends up in the tracks. Of course, yeah, it's not really their fault, quote unquote, because they went through what they thought was a reputable source of reputable copyright-free music that they could just use and be like, oh, this is great, why not? Why wouldn't they trust that was the case? Like, I feel like people at that level making those decisions need to be far more wary about what they're doing. They need to think about the costs of being caught with stuff that isn't copyright free, even if the other side says it, because obviously they don't try super hard to vet the tracks. Like, why would they? Because again, specifically ripping off my stuff was a poor choice, since people would recognize it when they heard it. But imagine if they ripped off something that you guys had done, you who have less than 1,000 followers on SoundCloud, less than 100 followers. Honestly, the music that ends up on these things are not very good tracks. Go to Audio Jungle, go to Pond 5, listen to the tracks that exist. They're terrible things. You guys, by and large, make better stuff than that. So if they go to someone who has no following, chances are they rip it off. Nobody's ever gonna know unless you yourself happen upon whatever content ends up being it. Because like I would never have known. I wouldn't have watched Pernicious. I wouldn't have seen the particular video that use the song, because their market is emphatically not me. But that's the 9-minute mark. So like, honestly, you guys probably should find these places and look through the library and make sure that your stuff isn't in it, because for all I know, that might be. Yeah, anyway, I should be over this whole 10-minute video thing in the next couple of weeks, and then business can resume as usual. And yeah, if you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And as usual, have a nice day.